Hello, everyone. My name is Esther Ruth Kentish, and I am a DPhil student in the English department at Oxford University. Today, I am interviewing our friend Andrew Durutalo, a professional rugby player and now an MBA at the business school at the University of Oxford. Go ahead and introduce yourself to us, Drew, and let us know who you are.
Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew Durutalo. I am a Fijian American. I've been a professional rugby player for the past 10 years, 10 or 11 years, and I'm a current student at the Said Business School and currently enrolled in the Executive MBA program.
Okay. Thanks for that warm introduction, Drew. Can we call you Drew?
Yeah, Drew's fine.
Okay.
Everybody calls
Thank
me Drew.
you. Okay, so from this interview, we will reference him as Drew and nothing less. So our first question is, why did you choose to do an executive MBA at the Said Business School at Oxford University?
Well, I just came to the point in my career where I wanted a transition into the business world.
Mhm.
So I was looking at a couple of universities in the UK and also in America, and Oxford really stood out to me,
Mhm.
um, especially trying to get into the business world and the corporate world. And I had done an undergrad in business administration at Hakko University in Japan. So at the same time, I knew that pursuing an executive MBA would align with what I did in my undergrad, and at the same time, help advance me and enhance my learning, um, transitioning into business.
Okay, okay. So, what type of learning style do you think you have, and what tips and tricks could you give us, or do you need for yourself that you could see yourself using or applicable at Oxford?
Well, I've been out of school for a while, but
Mhm.
when I was an undergrad student, I had a very short attention span, so a lot of
Okay.
my learning has to be in little bits and bobs and
Mhm.
little increments. So I had a coach that once told me, little and often is always good. So I usually just adopt that style, which works best for me.
Mhm.
Um, and at the same time, for me personally, I like studying in the morning because that's when
Mhm.
I'm most awake and, after a good night's sleep. And at the same time, I try and um, read and write at the same time because I feel like for me personally, a lot of that stuff helps me learn and makes a lot of the information stick.
Okay, I think something you said about learning in little pieces is important. That's actually called micro learning. And I think a lot of people are excellent in life when they micro learn because you don't kind of overdo it. You just learn what you need to know that's applicable for that moment and you move on. So that sounds very effective, Drew. I'm happy to hear that.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So our next question that I have is a very difficult question, even though it's two words. Why Oxford?
I mean, Oxford is, when I was looking at pursuing an executive MBA, um, Oxford really stood out for me because of the diversity of the cohort
Mhm.
and what it offered. And,
Mhm.
um, that was probably one of the biggest things that, was really appealing to me. And obviously, Oxford is a well-renowned university, especially with the business school, being at Said.
Mhm.
But for me as well, it's a way I can challenge myself. Being an athlete, I'm always looking for new challenges and trying, whether that be physically or intellectually. Um, you know,
Okay.
I always relish a challenge, and at the same time, I know how important it is to further my education. And why not do it at a school
Mhm.
that's well renowned and is the top university in the world? But at the
Yes,
same time,
sir.
it's I have a very deep connection with Oxford as well, and the city
Okay.
of my name. So, sharing on a personal level, um, my dad was a struggling academic in Fiji.
Mm-hmm.
So when he was struggling in university and trying to, pay for tuition and trying to study and all this
Right.
stuff that students face in universities, he came across a professor that helped mentor him along the way, and to the point where he won a Fulbright scholarship to come study in New York.
Oh, wow.
How I came about. So I was born in New York because my dad came to study on a Fulbright scholarship. But then when
Okay.
I was putting my application together to apply to the business school, I found out that the professor that actually helped my dad actually went to Oxford as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Wow.
so when my dad had a son, he named me after him. So that's the significance of my name, and how I was named after somebody that helped my dad, but also went to Oxford.
So you're a legacy, basically, in a way.
The pressure was on. The pressure was on for me to
The pressure is on. We're gonna
get
be
into Oxford for
looking
sure.
for you to be great at Oxford.
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
that's amazing. Like to see how kind of captivating it is to know that your family was already kind of generally connected to Oxford, but then more specifically, not only in academic terms, but just in personal terms. So that's actually good to know. And now I want to know something else. So, um, when did you know that you loved rugby? Because we all know that you're a professional rugby player, you're good at what you do, and we wanted to know, were you once lousy at it, or did you just become great, or were you always excellent at what you do?
Well, my story started when I was born in New York, but then I moved to
Mhm.
Fiji at the age of 4, about 5. So then, my early education was all done in Fiji, and so in Fiji,
Mhm.
rugby is very big in Fiji. It's pretty much a national sport. Everybody gets into rugby at school. So my friends were playing it. After school, just running around with the ball, catching it, passing it. Um, I think I really fell in love with the game because all my friends were doing it. It's something that I just stumbled across, and then I was pretty decent at it, and
Okay.
I was good enough for them to like pick me on the teams, and
Mhm.
represent the school teams, and then go on to like represent the national team, which was fun at the time, when you're young. And it was also a sense of belonging for me, because
Okay.
I always enjoy being in a team environment, and the element of working together and working as a
Mhm.
team towards a common goal, which is to win sometimes, or just to play well. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a very good dynamic, because it helps with character building, and all this
Right.
aspects that you carry on with you later on in life. So
Exactly.
you
I
know,
think.
discipline, and all that stuff
Mhm.
that you need as a human being. And it's a very interesting time, especially with the pandemic, and something that um, I've had to learn the business in a different way, so in a different
Right.
format, because everything is online now. So while I was doing my licensing for the state of Washington, it was
Mhm.
hard because I couldn't practice with my mentor one to one. I had to do it over
Mm.
computer, over phone call, and
Mhm.
it really takes away that human interaction element that
Mhm.
people that are involved. When you talk to clients, it takes that
Mhm.
away. But for me personally, having school start last month, um, I really have to really manage my time properly, especially
Yes.
from the time I wake up in the morning to when I go to sleep at night. I really have to be on point with
Mhm.
the times I allocate to certain things, whether it be work or studying, or
Mhm.
trying to stay fit at the same time,
Right.
because that also helps in just my well-being and being able
Yes.
to function properly. Um, but I think one of the biggest study tips that productivity tips for me that has helped me a lot in my career, not just as a student but as a professional rugby player, was trying to be very organized.
Mhm.
I think being organized um, has been amazing for me, because I know where things are at, and if there's certain changes in timetables, things change, I know exactly where things are when I'm
Mhm.
organized, as opposed to when I'm not. So I try to be
Okay.
as super organized as I can. um, I've also found out that I'm very productive in the mornings.
Yes,
So
I know you mentioned. What time do you wake up in the morning? Is it like 4 a.m.? Like, what time
well,
do you
not
wake
not not that early. I kind of like my sleep as well. So,
Okay, okay. So maybe
uh,
8 a.m.?
but yeah, I mean, around about 6:30. So I've just,
Okay.
it's always been a habit to wake up early, and I know that I'm, sharpest in the morning. So I try
Mhm.
and do a lot of, my schoolwork in the morning, because
Mhm.
it just helps me, remember things, and just stay sharp for the day. But apart from the two things that I mentioned, I think probably the last one would be um, just trying to set out goals for the day as well, and seeing if you finish them by the end of the day. So I think that always helps, because if I don't set out goals, like I'm just, yeah, just throwing. Yeah, it
Okay,
just takes up a
so
lot of my time. So it just helps me have a target and something that I have to achieve before the day ends.
okay, so you're very goal kind of oriented and like, do you have like a list? Are you a to-do list type of person? Like, I need to do this, or
I usually have like things in my head, but I know if it starts getting hectic, I have to write it down. So,
good?
but that usually helps me a lot, especially with getting things done. And then,
Okay, like just to give you some insight, one of my greatest productivity tools is focusmate.com. And Focusmate is an online technology where you just block off specific times, maybe, and it runs in 50-minute sessions, and you hang out with a complete stranger and you focus on that task for 50 minutes. Another really good one is projectmanager.com. Basically, it's a data kind of input based on the task that you have for that day. And it's really good with like allocating like funds, or like allocating time, or allocating anything that needs to be allocated. And also something
yeah,
else that I think you might like is Zapier. So Zapier, it is and it's, I think it comes as an app, but it basically uses automation, or kind of like AI in a way, to
okay.
automate your
Hmm.
daily activity. So it can help you kind of connect the gym with like an email ping, or like, but not normally like how you would use like an alarm to say like go to the gym. It would literally automate everything, and it would synchronize your calendars and your life. So
Okay.
now it's another one more that I'm only saying, if this, okay, this is if you have to do it. I would not suggest it unless you absolutely cannot write. So it's called writeordie.com. I won't tell you what it's about until you need it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
for that. Thank you for that. I'll definitely look into that, and I know it'll help me a lot, especially with how hectic the modules are going to get. So
Yes, they will.
just trying to stay on top and being very organized. Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. And my next question is, what is your favorite book? What book are you reading at the moment? If any, or what's your favorite book?
I'm reading a couple of books right now.
Okay.
I read one of my favorite ones is by an African writer named Chinua Achebe,
Mhm.
and I like reading a lot of his writings, because a lot of it feels very relatable to me. And
Mhm.
I think when I was in high school, I read Things Fall Apart.
Okay.
which was set in like an African setting,
Mhm.
and then,
Can
the
you give us
change.
a brief synopsis of it?
It was like he was the settings in a rural setting somewhere in Africa, and the influence of the Western world on that community. And I think one of the characters in there wasn't able to adapt to change. And I think the
Mm.
key lesson there was change is inevitable, uh,
Wow.
for the better. So
Mhm.
I think that really like struck, had a very big influence in the way I thought of things as a youngster growing up in a developing country like Fiji. So,
Right.
you know,
Right.
it
And
it really was very relatable on
mhm.
a lot of levels.
Mm.
So I think, yeah, and I think it was very good at the time, when I was at a crossroads of wanting to pursue rugby and also academics. So I think it
Mhm.
really helped me a lot. And then more recently, like I read a lot of books written by a lot of sports people that have like transitioned into business, or just sports people in general that that have different philosophies and different styles they use and how they've been very successful. Uh, so I've read Shoe Dog, which is about how Nike came about, and then there's
Okay.
a couple others, and some of the books, and then I think my teammate just came out with a book. It's called Finish Strong:
Mhm.
A Father's Code and a Son's Path, Nate Ebner. So it's
Okay.
about, so he was my teammate the last Olympics 2016,
The Olympics.
and the Olympics, yeah.
Okay. Go
Uh,
ahead.
so he's an NFL player. So he played for the New England Patriots,
Mhm.
and then he
Wow.
transitioned over to the Olympic team back in 2016. But
Mhm.
then he'd always have a rugby background, and he's
Yeah.
also very involved in business as well.
Mhm.
So I always like connect with him, but he has a very deep story on
Mhm.
the influence of his father. um,
Mhm.
and I heard his story back in 2016 and how his father passed away,
Oh.
and it's just a book that I'm looking forward to read, because
Mhm.
he gave me a bit of insight into into his life, and just how that influenced him and helped
Mhm.
him pursue a career in football and become very successful and win like 3 Super Bowls with New England. So, and it's crazy.
Exactly.
It's crazy that that he's done all of that, and he's gone to the Olympics as well. So he's a friend, and also a teammate that I look up to, and also very supportive in his business and endeavors as well. But it's also
Mhm.
lessons that I can learn as well from his book. So I'm looking forward to have a read of that.
That makes me excited, and you sound very well read with a lot on your hands to read soon. So let me know how that book actually goes. Yeah, I have a few books that I wrote, but we'll talk about that at a later time. But I love writing and I love reading as well. So thanks for sharing it. And I want to ask you another question. So, how do you plan? And I think we kind of touched on this a little earlier. How do you plan to show leadership in your role in the IMBA?
I think for the most part, being able to work as a group, because a lot of it is, group work, group study, and being able to, really apply yourself, with your
Mhm.
experience, uh, especially a perspective from an athlete, in all these case studies on problems that we're trying to solve.
Mhm.
I think one of the biggest things, especially in the group work, is working as a team, and then understanding, the different personalities and in the team, and the dynamics of the team. So I think, and then being able to just liaise properly and communicate really well with a lot of the cohort as well, and learn as much as I can from them. So then knowing their strengths and their weaknesses, and how I can best support them, or how they can best support me, I think would be a good way to show leadership in that regard, and understanding yourself and your strength and your weaknesses, pretty much.
That's really kind of an effective way to look at things. I think you are very focused on like the team vision, and most people may not be as focused. What advice could you give somebody who is not necessarily focused on team dynamics but want to be?
Especially if you're involved, it doesn't matter, whether you be in a company, in a team, especially working in family, because like person, like at home, like within a family, like that is a team. Like if
Right.
you look at it as a team
It's a
dynamic, it is a team.
team.
So you gotta you gotta, like I said in my earlier answers, just
Mhm.
understanding where your strengths are and how you can use them, uh,
Mhm.
you know,
That's
to
deep. That's really deep, Drew. The
to further.
family as a team. I mean, you just introduced the family unit as a team.
Yeah, I mean that's your first experience on being in a team. You know what I mean?
So who's
Um,
the captain in a family dynamics with siblings?
well, in my family it was my mom, so everybody.
Exactly. That's important. Wow.
But yeah, everybody nowadays, everybody
Mhm.
brings something different to the table, which is key. It's and you know that makes the element of the team very unique, because
Exactly.
you just need to focus on what you're really good at, and then somebody
Okay.
will pick on will help you out with something that you're not very good at, and then vice versa. So that's how pretty much how a team works, and um, how it could run smoothly, and how it could be very productive and very effective over a long period of
Exactly.
time.
So knowing your strengths and weaknesses is a good part of that.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for answering that question. So now I have another question to ask you. This question might be one of our last questions, kind of coming upon the end, but understanding me in particular being from H Town.
H-Town.
Right. What is one of the things that you look forward to when you do join us in Oxford in the midst of COVID-19?
The Oxford experience, everybody talks about it, and it is one of the biggest things that I'm really looking forward to, is the experience of Oxford, and getting involved in all the traditions and stuff
Yes,
like that. So,
matriculation.
like,
Even
the biggest
though,
one is matriculation, which happened last month, and
yes.
unfortunately we weren't able to do it in person,
Mhm.
but it is a very big part of Oxford, and I cannot wait, to get to Oxford and experience, Oxford in person, and
Mhm.
being part of the university, being part of my college. Um,
Yes. What college are you a part of?
I got into Green Templeton College, which is, I think it's a graduate only college.
Yes,
So,
I'm at St. Cross College, a graduate only college.
oh, nice. Yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to, meeting the people from my college, and then obviously going out to see the different colleges as well, and
Mhm.
then learning about the history of all these colleges, because it's very interesting, and a lot of the alumni that have gone to whichever college that they went to. So it'll be cool to see, and discover different people that went to different colleges, and at the same time just learn a bit about the history of a lot of them. And I think Green Templeton is a very new college, and it's the combination of two colleges. So
Wow, I
um,
didn't know that. Wow, you're teaching. You're teaching history.
yeah, I
Wow.
think I still need to research, do a little bit more research on my college as well. So yeah, I'm just
Mhm.
looking forward to all of that, meeting the cohort, they're very
Yes.
big group, a very vibrant group, a very
Mhm.
diverse group, which
Mhm.
I'm so excited to meet them. And they bring so much wealth of knowledge to the classes, and to the class, the modules itself, and
Mhm.
bringing the experience, which is great because it's a very big learning lesson for me. So and also having that face-to-face interaction, being in person, and actually studying at the business school.
I
So
know. At the moment, to be fair, according to lockdown, all we can do is go on one-to-one walks with a buddy that is a part of your support bubble. I think that's the England rules for now. Just to
oh,
let
okay.
you know.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it's fine. Look, you can still have the Oxford experience with COVID, like, within COVID, and we've all had to redefine our lives in ways that we did not before. Like, I've been in the UK at this point for almost 2 years now. So I've had to get used to like just redefining life, and that's okay. So, from
Yeah.
hearing that, how are you feeling right now, Drew? You look a little bit concerned.
Well, I'm just happy like they're rolling out the vaccine, and obviously
Okay. Okay. So you
getting people
prepared to
vaccinated.
kind of
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
So like, obviously, there's not much you can do, but
Mhm.
obviously just be sensible with
Right.
not traveling, and
Mhm.
obviously, isolating, and
Mhm.
keeping a distance. So social distancing, sorry.
And
Um,
wearing your mask
and wear a mask. Yes, exactly. So
and
at
enjoying
the same time,
self-care time.
just trying to be patient and hanging in there, and trying to wait for everything to finally blow over and get
Mhm.
the full Oxford tradition and experience. So I think that's pretty much what I'm looking for, and also just learning. So
Mhm.
that will probably be the top things that I'm really, really looking forward to when coming to Oxford.
Amazing. So my last question for you, we've reached the end, sadly, because the interview can go on for 5 hours and I wouldn't mind. But my last question for you is, in what ways do you feel that you have been impacted deeply by an event or an experience that connects to Oxford or that led up to Oxford?
I think, you know, um, just looking at, as I was a professional rugby player, just looking at other athletes, not in the sport of
Mhm.
rugby, but like in other sports as well, and just watching their journeys as well,
Mhm.
and how they, uh, s- transitioned from being an
Mhm.
athlete into business, but at the same time, transform themselves from, the athlete into the businessman or the businesswoman uh,
Right.
image, which was very appealing to me.
I
Um,
see.
and then obviously, I can't be an athlete forever. So
Oh, I
unfortunately,
see.
that's life. And
Yeah, how are you feeling about that? How are
I
you
mean,
coping with it or
I'm
like
I do enjoy being an athlete. It's very good, but at the same time, it's very taxing on the body.
okay.
I've done it for a very long time, and the transition into the executive MBA was perfect timing.
Mhm. So
I
you're
was just,
ready to become a personal trainer once you get to Oxford.
I am actually.
I knew it. That's
I'll take my
great.
I'll take my cohort on like a 5 mile run. We
Well,
should.
I'll come along as well. Although
Yeah,
I'm not part of the EMBA, I will take my DPhil in English self along with you
no
or
worries.
along
Hey,
with
you're part of
the
Oxford. You're part of Oxford, so we're all good.
yeah, I just wanted to
We're a
ask.
community.
Yeah. So like I think what you said was very, very useful. I think it's almost admirable that you are encouraging other people in your groups, in your teams, in your organizations to pursue business as a way to kind of connect with others. And also for you, I know that you pursuing business is really connected to you giving back to Fiji and just kind of embodying the culture. So it really is just so amazing to talk to you and to interview you today. And I'm really excited to continue to see you grow on your journey in the MBA at the Said Business School at Oxford University. Thank you so much for your time.